Welcome everyone. Hey, this is our last workshop Wednesday for Diablo's Design Month at Topcoder. So very excited to have everyone here today, have all of our special guests. Today we are going to talk about developers and designers uniting. All of us at Topcoder, while this is Design Month, it is also very important that our company name is Topcoder. We're all developers, are working in the coding development space in some way. So how do we look at developers and designers, and all of us kind of working together, and developers being designers and designers being developers, and of course making sure that we don't have any walls and we can of course deliver great outcomes. Welcome. We are celebrating Diablo's Design Month at Topcoder all throughout the month of May, and just kind of want to recap here what's been going on. We are celebrating our memory of Diablo, an amazing designer and developer at Topcoder, and we have dedicated the month of May at Topcoder in his memory. At Topcoder, we are a global design community focused on solving real-world graphic design and user experience problems through this crazy thing that we do, which is crowdsourcing through an amazing, talented crowd that is all of you. It is a challenge-based process, so where designers submit their design concepts or solutions for critique and feedback. This is critical. This is a big thing that we really focus on here at Topcoder, is making sure that we are providing feedback, that you're able to understand what is working and not working with your designs, but also with your code. The ability to get that feedback and learn and how to improve. In this design process, we promote design education, open design thinking. This open design thinking is becoming much more prominent, especially with platforms and tools like Figma, but this whole idea of sharing designs, or the idea of being inspired by each other's designs. So this concept of open design thinking and innovation through rapid design, which of course is all of our fun rapid design challenges we run, Rux and Lux, and of course our ongoing bracket tournament that we're having this month, which is a one-on-one elimination after 30 minutes of designing. It's all about challenging ourselves, the design process, and the way we work together as a design community. So welcome everyone. I'd just like to remind everyone why we're here, and of course all the great opportunity around the different things that we do. The different areas that we focus on at Topcoder: design direction, UX design, UI design, and today what we are talking about, which is front-end development. So the handoff, the ability to take a designer's vision and of course turn that into great great amazing code in the browser, and understanding all of those nuances. Over the years, we have tackled this in many different ways. For a long time, we had a track at Topcoder called the UI Prototype. Many of our guests here have participated in that track. The focus of that was really to realize the designer's vision, to take a design and convert that into pixel perfect front end code that works really well in the browser, and to also understand the nuances of optimizing images, working with all the crazy browsers we've had over the years, and making sure that customers are receiving great outcomes. So things have changed and things have evolved, and so we're going to dive into that here in a second. So design handoff. So we hear this a lot. So what is this? And this is part of what we're going to talk about today. But it's the point of the product development process where developers implement the finished design. And in order for handoff to be successful, it's very important that designers and developers are on the same page, that there's massive collaboration, that there is communication. And in the way we do things at Topcoder, that can be very hard because we are all remote and we do things through competitions. And many times the assets from one challenge is handed off to another challenge. And so maybe the developers have to assume some things. And so with great communication, with great collaboration, and of course with a lot of the cool tools that we now have, we can continue to break down these issues and make sure that we do get great code and great outcomes. Okay, I'll stop there for a second. One other thing I do want to announce, and I'll repeat this at the end. We do have our Design Month party on Friday. So starting at 8 a.m. Topcoder time, we will be having a special guest doing from Design It at Wipro, who will be doing like a future of design conversation, which I'm very excited about. We will be hosting the championship of the Diablo's design tournament. So we have our final four, and we will be having two problems that are at 30 minutes each. And our competitors will be competing for the tournament championship. And then Jesse has a lot of other fun stuff that we'll cover here at the end. But I want to remind everyone that Friday, Topcoder time, 8 a.m. Eastern, we will be kicking off our Topcoder party in celebration of Diablo's Design Month. Okay, welcome everyone. How are you all doing? Hi, Lunar Kid. Daddy, you awake?
I'm awake, Adam. Just getting better after get flu and fever yesterday.
Okay, but you doing okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Feeling better now.
And Sandeep, hello. Are you doing okay?
Yeah, hi Adam. Yeah, I'm doing good. Like I'm reviewing some of the challenges. Like there is a client, and then we are running some challenges for him. Like mostly like it's a front end plus back end. So whatever the issue comes, we have like so many issues related to design as well as the development. So I'm just working with the Topcoder developers, and then whatever the issue the client are raising. So what we do is like whatever the client is raised, we just we tell the developers that these are the issues, and then we also recommend them. Like I recommend them that this is like you have to do in order to make it perfect. So like those instructions that developers first follow, and then they just like they submit, and then if it's everything okay, then I review it. If everything's okay, I just give it to the client, and then they do a review again, and then they close that issue. And apart from them, I'm also running like some React Native challenges these days. So React Native is usually the UI part of the React Native. So in this phase, we have React Native development challenges, usually front end, and the integration with the mock APIs. So in that, like you have to do the development on Android, and you have to do the development on iOS, and then we have a design in this Adobe XD. Yeah, Adobe XD, okay. And then Handoff is provided. So just like use everything.
Okay, great. Just real quick, just kind of want to say hi to everyone. So Daniela, hello. Welcome to our party here. I can't hear you. No audio. And Pikachu, hello. Well, thanks for joining us.
Hi everyone. Great to see all of you after a long time.
Yes, it's been a while. And Kirill, hello.
Hello everyone. Nice to be here. I'm looking forward.
Yeah, so the first thing I wanted to kick off, so Kirill and Daniela work together on a lot of our Topcoder community endeavors. And so I really wanted to kind of ask them a little bit about their journey of working together from a design handoff. So Kirill does all of our developer work on the community side of the platform. Daniela does a lot of the design. We have other members in the community that do the design, but Daniela manages a lot of that. And of course, Daniela and Kirill have to work and collaborate to make sure that time isn't being wasted, that assets are being created, and of course that that handoff is smooth, and making sure Kirill, I'm sure, has a lot of questions for Daniela. Sometimes Daniela may see something and want to correct Kirill on how something was implemented. So I just kind of wanted to start there. So Kirill and Daniela, would you mind? So how about Kirill? Would you mind telling a little bit of the journey of working with Daniela and kind of getting to a point where you have a really good seamless kind of handoff?
Okay, thank you. So I first can say it's a pleasure to work with Daniela. because it was not all the time, but when we cleared the details and the flow, it became fun, actually, which I treasure. So we used mostly Marvel, and the processes I'm becoming the design from her in a Marvel prototype. And then I am start developing it in. We are using React.js in our front end, and we have a Node.js backend where we have some APIs implemented. Yeah, and we also use SSR. We render the front end on the server side, and then we use Webpack to pack everything. So that's our stack. Oh, this is driving the /community pages, and we use CMS. We use headless CMS called Contentful to manage the content. We have developed that so kind of framework to drive the pages, and it's pretty flexible, and we are able to create different designs and various layouts using that framework, and update content almost instantly from Contentful without prod releases, which is great benefit for the company and the team.
Yeah, no, that is. So as you and Daniela have worked together, you mentioned Marvel. So we do our designs at Topcoder, we put them in Marvel, but part of that is also like getting the assets over to you. So what can you guys describe what that process is like? Maybe Daniela, could you describe how you hand assets off over to Kirill?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So hi everyone. So the way I'm handling assets as most of our designs are done in Sketch, and we have all these guide kits, we have a design system in place. And then when a design is approved by the team, I'm just going and marking all the assets in Sketch for exporting. We know that fonts and colors are can be picked by developers, but then there are icons or images, and those have to be marked special to be downloaded as SVGs or PNGs or anything that we want. We usually try to have all the icons and vector stuff to be used as vector as well on the side, just to be sharp on mobile and on all devices. And then I just export them in Marvel, and we use Marvel Handoff for getting the assets, as Kira was mentioning before. It's the good part about Marvel Handoff is that you can download all the assets at once. You can see the layer structure. You can easily navigate through the design, especially with the updates that they did in the latest 6 months, just like the designer has the structure of the file. And this is pretty much it, like the handling. And sometimes there are certain situations when, for example, masks, that are making a problem when handing over. So we try to work around that, or some of the SVG icons, and we just try to find a solution together to the things that don't work. Because at the end, we both have the same interest for the best of the projects,
Yep. So, for everyone out there, years ago when I started at Topcoder, used to have Photoshop, we would export we'd crop things, we'd export the images, we'd optimize the images, I'd load them into, I'd do my HTML, CSS, I'd load it in the browser, I'd test across, IE, and I don't think Chrome was around then, IE and Firefox and whatever it was, right? Netscape, I can't believe I remember that. And, I'm hearing like Marvel, and I'm hearing about components, and I'm hearing about frameworks, and I'm hearing about design systems. So like, with responsive design and across all of these different, platforms that we have to support now, how has kind of like design systems helped? How has, Marvel helped, or has it, or does it kind of hurt the process? Is it a positive? Is it a negative? Kirill, Daniela, either one of you?
from developers' perspective, Marvel is a great benefit, and just the tool that was missing before, and at that time. So you're talking about. So we now developers, I mean, we have the tool to measure distances in the layers and the distances between the objects in the Marvel. So I am now able to see how many pixels exactly are there from the text to the icon or whatever, and I can see that to implement it in CSS and the code, and that is what makes the perfect design possible. So it's great benefit for me as developer.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, for design.
So I'm gonna.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
For design, speaking of this, we have built this guide kit around basically atomic design based on components and items, and we pretty much have the same components for development as well. So as you have the headings defined in the hierarchy of the guide kit, we have the same hierarchy defined in the development. So let's say sometimes I just use a heading that is not defined. Then Kirill come back to me and ask, like, what did you do with this font? We don't have it. You should use everything we have. So having these components and design system, both in design side and development, it helps us be more consistent with the overall sizes for the site and the buttons, the colors and everything, because there is flexibility for everything else, but we need to be consistent so we don't go into random pages and things looking off everywhere. So this definitely helps. And Marvel and him being able to quickly check the sizes without having to open a program, because Kirill doesn't use Sketch, is very useful, you know.
Yeah, I don't have it. It's on Linux.
Now, a key thing here is collaboration, right? So communication. So I think probably at first you two had to kind of work through that. So like, do you feel like you talk the same language now? Or was it did you have to learn and communicate on what was needed?
Yeah, we kind of had. I mean, the thing is, I was coming as a competitor, and as a designer, you just submit to the challenge, you have the concept. Once you're finished, you send it, you're done. That's the project. Right. You might do final fixes, but you're done with the project. And this time, I thought it's the same. Like in the first projects, I had the design and sent it to Kirill. I thought he's going to pick all the assets from the files because I did my job. And then he was coming back to me like, hey, the assets are not marked for export. That thing is not working. That's wrong. And I was wondering, why so many questions? I did everything right. You know, it wasn't working. So then the next step was like, okay, let's mark everything, make it smooth. And I handled the design. And once he coded, especially in the first designs, because it's a learning process for us, you know, we as designers, we come as newbie, and then we learn so many things about aligning items, about pixel perfect design, about colors. And then when I handed the design and it was coded, it didn't look at all pixel perfect design as I had envisioned, you know, it was different. And I was wondering what had happened to my beautiful design, because the elements were spaced out, or fonts were bigger, or images were smaller. It wasn't looking done like by a professional designer. It was like, I cannot present this as my work. What happened? And then I thought that we are talking the same language for some reason. I was like, you know, you just have to fix the design. You see the spacings are off, the font is larger. And I thought that's enough. Like if I would just use normal words, you know. But of course, Kirill didn't have a design background as me. He didn't work for years on design. He didn't have all that experience. So I definitely needed to be more specific. So when I was saying just reduce that space, I had to reduce that space with 20 pixels, or be clear in the directions that I wanted and the things. So I get the outcome that I'm wishing for, you know. And things were a bit more bumpy in the beginning because we kind of weren't talking the same language. We weren't used to work together. And I remember we were having like 4 or 5 iterations, like revisions, because I was also stubborn on things and I wanted it to be pixel perfect, you know. I was like, that needs to be fixed and this too. But then we got better, and kind of nowadays it's only we just have one revision and that's done, because I think Kirill also developed now a designer, right, after so many revisions together. Yeah.
Yep. So really kind of, you know, learning, you learning a little more on the development side, right? Like how to communicate and talk, and Krill understanding a little bit more on the design side, but through communication and going on that journey together, right?
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
I think a key thing here is definitely as designers, understanding what the end state is, right? Understanding how something needs to be delivered. So I don't think all designers need to learn how to code, but I think you definitely need to understand how things are going to be delivered. And then of course, on the developer side, being more in tune with kind of the design tools and the different states and responsive breakpoints and things like that. I'm gonna go over to Lunar Kid and Hi for Sandy. So, the two of you have, in some ways, I would say, grown up at Topcoder, self-taught through design and also through the UI prototype track, and of course now jumping into things like React and Angular, and really kind of promoting best practices within the community. Question over to you, Lunar Kid. When you first started doing things at Topcoder, you were doing HTML5, browser testing, and then you went and learned, taught yourself React. How has like the new frameworks kind of improved, or the way you work, or sped up the way you worked, or are you feeling like there's a better connection between design and front end development with kind of the new way of doing things?
Can Sandeep answer this first? I need to thinking my answer.
Okay. Okay. Sandeep, how about you? Like, you're a big proponent of, the Angular and the front end frameworks. Like what's your thinking on kind of the handoff piece and like how the new technology is helping things?
So initially, like 2-3 years ago, when we didn't have this Marvel, we used to use this Photoshop, and everything has to be like with an eye. We calculate this is the distance, like this is the icon size, and this is the like a font color, font name. So all those things, like we have to look into the Photoshop, and then based on that we have to write CSS. But now, like we have Marvel, so what we do is like if a handoff is enabled in that Marvel storyboard, we just click the icon or the font, and then we get the CSS, icon size, color, everything. So it's like the CSS, we don't have to look into each and every thing. So this feel like we can easily develop, like we can easily write CSS. And then earlier we only have that just like a desktop, then only desktop, it's not responsive. But now we have a responsive website. So now like in the same day, like in a challenge, like we have 5 days, and then we have to develop a web page for the mobile and web page for desktop. So like if we do not use this Marvel, then it's very hard to complete all those requirements in 5 days. And with React Native coming, and then also like the native iOS development. So in that, those CSS attributes are in a different way. Like sometimes we use SCSS, or in Xcode we use a different kind of thing. So like the name is same, but like they have to be written in different ways. So if we use Marvel, then it's like it provides all the languages. So CSS, or we can switch to SCSS, or we can switch to an Xcode specific language like the Swift. So from there we can directly take that code, copy it into our code, and then do the development. So this way it's like it's way more faster. So earlier it's like even if we have to copy an icon from Photoshop, we have to just like we have to take just like clip that icon and then export that icon. But now with Marvel, we just have to click a download button, and then everything is downloaded. And there's one more thing is there, that different icons have different pixels. So for Retina specific devices, we have to take 2x icon, or sometimes we have to take 3x scaled icon. So using Marvel, we can just click download, and all 3 types of icons get downloaded. But if we use Photoshop, then again, like we have to do all those scaling by ourselves. Or like if it's SVG, then it's better. Like we don't have to do that. But like if using Marvel, like it makes like a development super fast. And then just like a single storyboard can be used for developing native iOS, native Android, or a hybrid application using React Native, or a website. So it's like we only need a just like a Marvel handoff thing, and developers don't need to care about that Photoshop thing. So it's like way more easier this way.
Yep. So for everyone out there, like we keep mentioning Marvel, but so we use Marvel for presentation of designs, but they also have a tool for handing off and analyzing the different design assets. We also use Zeppelin.io. I think Figma and other platforms also do something similar, where the ability to analyze the design and the ability to understand like what CSS needs to be, or essentially break down those graphics. And I think from a designer standpoint, it's critical to understand those things. So let all of you out there, so like definitely learn what that all means, so you can have a collaborative conversation with the developers that you're working with, and to all the developers, like obviously understand what those tools are doing, so you can obviously get the assets that you need. So Lunar Kid, any thoughts on React or your journey?
Yeah, I just wanted to add some things from that's Sandeep comments before. So things get more easier now after we use Marvel. Like I remember at the first time I joined the Topcoder challenge, I need to code each page with its own CSS, JavaScript, and slice. I need to learn about the how to use Photoshop. I need to learn how to slice, export the image. From this day, it's getting more easier. You can just click and download from the Marvel, check the measurement from the Marvel handoff. You can measure the padding, the margin, and spacing. So and another thing I want to add is about the React.js. React.js is like the component base is really helping us as a developer to speed up building the application, because that component can reusable in another part of the page.
Yep.
Also, I think the latest framework also already support the modern browser, not really hard like we used to, that we need to test on EI browser, that you must create your specific magic to make it, the prototype working in EA6, if you remember that. Yeah.
Oh, everything. Oh, yeah. IE6. I don't.
EA6.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad.
It's
So
a
glad that's
pain.
gone away. So, Pikachu, I'd like you to kind of weigh in on your journey also, and kind of like how does the handoff look to you, and especially in the when looking for bugs and things like that.
Yeah. The Marvel prototype is mostly the first place where we start, looking at the requirements and, matching it up with the pitch doc, and see what are the screens that we are going to develop and all that. So the first thing we do is something called as a gap analysis, where we see like what are sometimes designers put in a lot of their own ideas, which we are not ready for from the backend part point of view. So they may add some extra features which look cool, and they would have actually they would be good ideas for the future. So we'll have to first see what are the things that actually we are able to what is possible from the design, and see what are the what that's called the gap analysis, where we see what are the what's missing, and then we decide whether we implement those things which are not there, or we leave them out of scope. And then from the QA point of view, the gap analysis, both the developer and the QA, we both do it together. And from the QA point of view, this is where we start creating the test plans based on the Marvel design. What does the first page look like? What are the actions that the users can do? And usually most of the validation scenarios are also provided in the Marvel designs, like what do their messages look like, what are the pop-ups, and what are the different interactions in the different pages, and basically the whole flow. So this is a first place where we start creating the test plan and test cases, so that when the development is, by the time the development is complete, we are ready to start testing. And we also catch a lot of issues beforehand. When we do the gap analysis, then we know that some things are not possible and we don't have such things. So these Marvel handoffs have been really helpful for us from QA point of view also too. It helps us to get started earlier, and always a visual thing is better to get an easy understanding of the requirements rather than reading a word or a PDF document. Marvel designs will get the idea across much faster and easier for everyone to know what is in scope.
So your answer or your comment here actually led into what my next question was going to be, which is actually pretty awesome. So in the Topcoder model, we run competitions. So I think we all experience these gaps, right? It's like, okay, the designers, designers to win a challenge want to go above and beyond, and maybe they want to suggest concepts and things, and we run challenges that are focused on creating more concepts. But the next step is, can we go build that? Right. And so there's a gap there of like what's actually being designed, which can be built. And then of course that happens in code. So, I think one of the biggest mistakes that we have, part of this is our process, but I think this is in all handoff situations, is missing screens or logic breakdowns, right? The ideas, around the ideas of like, animations, micro interactions that might be missing air screens, missing messages, things like that. So how, I'm going to leave this, whoever jumps in, how does kind of finding those things and then, fixing those things in the development process, like how do you tackle that and how do you communicate with that? This is open to anyone. Go ahead.
So the sooner we start looking at the design and the sooner we catch these things, it's easier to fix. And currently, like last a few months, we have the QA team has been getting involved right from the beginning of the development process, or right when the pitch is made. So this has been helping a lot for us to identify gaps beforehand, right when we start looking at the designs. So mostly when the pitch is made, we have the designs mostly done, or so it's like we get to look at it in the beginning. And I personally we have seen a lot of issues being caught before because of the design handoffs.
Okay. So, Sandeep, Lunar Kid, Kirill, like when you've been developing something and all of a sudden you realize like, wait, I'm missing assets, I'm missing things, or the customer comes to you and says, well, where are these screens? What do you do?
Usually what happens that sometimes we get the design and then our icons are not exportable. So then we say the design co-pilot or the PM of the project that these icons are not exportable. Please give us make these exportable. Then they take some time, like maybe around a day, and then they fix that issue. And then sometimes like the screen is missed. So if some screen is missed, then what we do is we run another, just like a small task. We run it as a small task, and then we get that fixed. So sometimes it happens that the initial design is different, and then at the end of the day, customer did some changes, and now we have to do some more design. It's like we do some changes in the design, so we have to recode some of the things. So in that case, also we run a small task or F2 to get those things done. But those things are like small, not that big. So most of the things are done or small things. We run a task or the F2.
Okay. Kirill, any thoughts on that? Like when I come to you and say, wait a second, we don't have this we don't have this hover state, or we need a alert for this. Do you jump in and fix it yourself? Do you communicate back to Daniela?
I try to communicate back to Daniela and ask for the asset that is, or ask for advice. Then I don't like to handle on my own because I don't have the expertise to design things, and I like to develop. So I trust her and ask her for feedback, and that's the way how it works between us.
Awesome. Okay. So, a lot of I'd say the last couple of years now has been a lot about design systems. This idea of, obviously, if we have really great design systems, it makes the development process a lot easier. Things are much more defined. Have you guys found that, like, if you have the design systems and components ready, has it been beneficial and helpful?
Yes, it is beneficial. So what in earlier when we didn't have this design system, so there were like so many inconsistency happening like most of the places. So at some places the text size is like suppose at 50 pixel, and then the same like at some other place the text size is let's suppose at 55 pixel. And then when we run a challenge or I used to participate, and during that time, so we used to get scored down because like we have to take care of all small details, and if we do not make our design like our prototype same as the design, then we get scored down. So because of like our developer thinks so we should make this consistent, but in design it's not consistent. So those things we used to face, but now with the new design system, there's hardly any such thing. Most of the time, like these things are consistent, and like the left spacing and right spacing is also consistent. Icon size throughout the application or throughout different section of the application. So those are also consistent. It also comes to that line height and then font and font color. So they are like usually they are what used to have like small changes, like sometimes like it's going to be gray, but a different shade of gray. So like suppose that we have a color, and then with other at a different place we have a B color. So it's almost the same, but like we used to get scored down because those things were not consistent. But now like with new design system, things are like improving, and then we don't face those issues.
Okay, awesome. Any other thoughts on that? Well, my next question is more around, I've been kind of hinting at it, but each of your journeys, what advice do you have for any of the designers or developers out there? I think each of you have kind of been very proactive in learning new things, getting after understanding new technologies, not just kind of resting with, like for me, like I know HTML5, I know CSS, I have not gone and learned some of the new JavaScript frameworks. Well, you have, right? So what advice do you guys have for any of the other designers or developers in the Topcoder community, like things they should go learn, tools they should go learn? Is there a good start? So any thoughts? And so across, React and Angular front end, across, bug hunting, across CMS systems, like what are you guys' thoughts? What advice do you have for everyone kind of watching today?
So what we have to do, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Daddy.
Yeah, okay. So I coming from designer background. Some things I can advise to the new designer. They must solidify their basic language like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. These three language, even until now, it's still using. So you must have a good basic on those three before you can move up. After you expert on those three language, you can level up to Node.js, React, because they use the same basic that will be help you in the future. Yep, Sandeep.
Yeah, like Leonardo said, like at first learn the basics like HTML, JS, and CSS. Do not use any fancy things to make things easier for you. Learn it in a harder way initially, and when you're good at it, then like keep on learning new things. You cannot stay at a single point just like us. You will say that I know React, and now I don't need to learn anything. So this is not going to help these days. Even standing still is like going back. So whatever new things come, like keep on learning them. So earlier, like we have React Angular, now we have React Native, and even like there are different versions of that. So React earlier we used to use different things. Now you React Redux, React, and then Context API, and so many new things coming. So always keep yourself updated, and then like whenever something new comes, it makes things easier. but although it makes things easier, we get more things to do. So earlier, when we developed the UI prototype or an app, we only used to do like elements, develop elements different, forms develop, registration, sign up, and these sections. Now, new things came, like you have to support fingerprint ID, you have to support face ID. So now it's like the same contest, but it has a bigger scope, and then you have the same time, like 5 days. So if you done new things, then the new things make things easier. And then in the same 5 days, like 5 days of a challenge, you can do, you need to do more things. So you can do more and more things. And one more thing is like, suppose that if you, these days, most of the things like you have to develop an Apple app, then you must have an Apple, like an iOS device and then a Mac OS. So initially, like you do have to invest a lot on those things, but if you are good at, then I will encourage people to just like invest on those things, because in the long run, like even if you run to Topcoder development challenge, that covers everything, like the cost of an iPhone, the cost of a MacBook. So if you are like good at developments, and then do not like stay behind that I don't have this device, so I cannot develop this thing. So just go ahead, and then if you need this for development, then it's like it's like you are investing on yourself, and then you are getting a good returns on those things. So it's more like an investment. So do not stand behind on that point of view.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and one more thing, there are like these days we use like we have VS Code and we have different extensions. So those extensions also make development easier. So keep on trying a newer extension. Those help you to code faster, because as a normal developer, you can do like you can develop the same application in suppose that 1 month. But when you are at Topcoder, you have to do the same 1 month thing in 5 days. So to speed of you, yeah, it's correct. Otherwise, like even if you do it in 5 days and you score 90%, then it does not make sure that you are going to win it. There may be another developer who is getting 91 score, and then you lose it, or you get second position. So just like I try to perfect everything, and then just try to make yourself faster, and then it's like do development in one of the best ways you can. It's like otherwise it's different to win at Topcoder. We have like a very good, very good developers, and then they are really very fast. So you have to compete with them. And,
yes. Pikachu?
Yes, and you would have noticed that the learning curve is a little bit steep over here, and you may not succeed initially on your first challenge, especially for development challenges where there is a lot of setup involved. But if you notice, there are most of these challenges will be a part of a bigger project, and when you learn about the setup in the first challenge, and it will make it much more easier for you to compete in the future challenges, and you can also learn from the winning submissions from the initial challenges. And the best thing is to keep competing, and it will become easier as you reach the top of that learning curve. So that's one thing. Don't get disappointed by looking at the scope of the first challenge that you're looking at. It does get easier as you keep competing more and more.
I also say, if you don't get feedback, please do ask for feedback. So I think,
Yes.
like I said, at Topcoder, feedback is super critical. So if we have a gap of you not getting feedback, let's make sure that you're getting the feedback so you can improve. Kirill, Daniela, any advice to everyone?
In Topcoder, it's very critical to read the reviews. So when you compete, you get two options: either you win or not. But when you're not, you just don't need to be angry. You just need to learn and improve. And the best way is to read the feedback from the reviewers and try next time to not make the same errors. This is the way how it works, and it's very critical to master the fundamentals. So in front-end development, you need to know HTML and CSS. That's the way. You cannot do without them. So if you plan to improve in this area, you need to learn first CSS and HTML in easier challenges, or F2Fs, first to finish challenges, and then you jump to the bigger, more paid challenges where you play with all tools together to deliver the product. So it's a learning path, and it's very interesting to go through.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, like, you know, just the basics of HTML, I recommend for everyone. I mean, that helps just in form fields, that helps in general things that we do on the web anymore, right? So just understanding a little bit of the basics of how to do some of those things is critical. And I think from a designer view, it helps you understand how things are going to be built. Again, I don't think you have to go and be like, you know, an ace coder, but I think you have to understand the basics. It's critical for success. I owe my success, my career really, to being a designer who could code what I designed. And that was forced on me. It was basically a company I worked for that said, hey, we're going to teach you how to code. And, you know, that 1 month of learning HTML and CSS, you know, has been the rest of my career, because I could go into meetings and have a conversation with anyone to say, like, is something possible or not possible from a technology standpoint, right? Just to understand like how things work. So I think, you know, we just heard that from everyone. It's critical to understand those things. Daniela, any advice on, you know, from your journey and your path through Topcoder and your career for everyone?
I can only talk about design and not front end, because I'm not a front end developer. I think it's the same advice as the guys did, like keep submitting and keep learning from the winning designs, try to analyze everything the winners did to win, and then learn that thing and apply it in the next challenge. I mean, save those submissions, look at them when you have to, and then when you have customers from the same domain, like medicine or financial or anything, try to apply the things that you learn or the concepts that you learned before into this challenge. And then the feedback from the checkpoint, I think, is very helpful, because even if you don't get to win the final prize, you get to know if you're in the same direction or in the top 5 members, and you have a high chance to win. So the more checkpoints you win, the more prizes. And then ask questions, like all the design community and the developers are very friendly. So if you need help, we are here. The community team is as well here. We are doing a lot of skill builders for the members, and everyone is here to help. So you just have to be willing to put the effort and really learn there. And then the result will start showing up, like more and more wins, and you'll get there, you know.
Awesome. Thank you. I think the biggest thing I would like everyone to, you know, communication and collaboration is key, and it's hard across challenges. You know, it's obviously co-pilots drive a lot of that. But I think as a designer, you're winning a challenge, you may be asked to work with the next step. And as the developers, be asking questions, like just don't assume certain things, ask in the challenge, ask as part of the next step of like how something should be implemented if it's not clear. And I think, you know, at Topcoder, I think we do a great job of, again, realizing designers' visions and realizing customer visions in a great way. Okay. 1 second. So I want to remind everyone, we have our closing event this Friday, 8 o'clock Topcoder time, 8 a.m. Topcoder time. So everyone is invited. Please join us, sign up for this. We're going to have some fun. We have a special guest from Design It who's going to talk about the future of design. I will be hosting Diablo's design tournament with our final 4, which reminds me, I should pull that up. And let me get that. And I don't know, Jesse, do you have anything else you want to add on for the party on Friday?
Just come, be there.
1 second, everyone. I'm just going to pull up the bracket. I should have had this ready. Okay, we have in our final four, we have Rajesh versus I Am Tong, and we have Toxic Pixel versus Ikbadhood. And so we will see we'll see them compete, and then we will see the championship. The event will be starting off with myself and our special guest, and then after that we will get into the competitions. And one other thing I am running a new type of experimental challenge, going to be launching this ideally today, later tomorrow, with Farjar, and it's going to be a UX hunt. So we're going to do an existing website. We're going to do a UX hunt where we're looking for all of you as designers to find any UX issues and then provide a design solution. So we're going to have some great prizes on it. It'll be TCO eligible. I'm looking forward to all of you checking it out, but we're calling it a user experience hunt. So it's a combination of, I would say, bug hunt plus actually doing some designs as solutions. We've done some things like this in the past, but with this one is going to be a bit more focused on finding issues, and then of course creating a visual solution. And the visual solution isn't going to have to be pixel perfect, but it's not going to be black and white, right? The idea is going to be leveraging the existing site, brand, things like that, and capturing what you think the better solution is for the problem that you have found. So keep an eye out. Farjar and myself will be launching that ideally later today, if not by tomorrow, to help close out Design Month and keep things going and have a fun challenge. And like I said, we're going to have some good prizes on it, 5 placements, and then of course payments for UX issues found. I think that is it. So anything else from everyone? Anything else you want to add or around design and developers collaborating? All good. Well, thank you for joining us. Thanks for coming today. I appreciate everyone and taking your time to join us and be with us and share your stories. And everyone out there, do please continue to ask questions and talk to us in the forums and let us know where we can help.
Thank you for the invitation and having us here today.
You are welcome. Oh, one other thing, we do have the leaderboard going up here, so I do want to call that out. So we have the all members leaderboard and the newbies for Design Month. So we'll keep this updated. Obviously, Friday is going to be the big day that we announce everything also. Okay, it looks like we may end 5 minutes early. Thank you, everyone.